Welcome to the PinkpillRx podcast, hosted by Katie and Jay Fillmore, where we navigate complex and thought-provoking topics surrounding women with a focus on education. For shorter form content, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube at Caters88 or PinkpillRx.
That's KATORS88.
If you enjoy this podcast, please give us a follow and maybe a nice review.
Hey, Jay.
Hey.
Just the two of us. Just the two of us.
This doesn't happen nearly as often as it used to.
I know. You guys might hear
A beautiful summer evening.
the frogs in the background. I apologize if you do.
Or if you like it, you're welcome.
We're recording on site.
I love it. I love the crickets and frogs.
Something that Jay and I do a lot is we send TikToks to each other and then we watch them together. It's in the evening. It's kind of like our little thing. And so there are some TikToks that I have not sent you that I would like to listen together and then kind of hear your response.
Cool.
But before we dive into that, I need to talk to you about something that's going on with octopus.
Dude.
Or octopi.
Dude, just 1 second.
I think this is really important for you to know.
Those of you who have not been here from the beginning, I have a fear of octopuses.
Octopuses,
They
octopi.
are so intelligent. There are theories that their origins were not on Earth.
Yeah, expound upon that a little bit.
Yeah, like an asteroid carried them here or something.
Yeah, because their DNA is so unique and they evolved faster and differently than almost any other creature on
they're
Earth.
required to have anesthesia because their level of I guess their neurology. Also, side note, there are several different animals that basically evolved into different versions of an anteater separately. And that's weird.
That is weird that there's a lot of lines that have anteaters in them.
But it makes sense because ants, are so ridiculously numerous. Like, the numbers are staggering. Like, you wouldn't believe it.
I probably wouldn't.
It's an abundant food
I'm
source.
unaware of the ant population.
But octopus, the other thing is they can squeeze into super, super small holes. So I've seen videos of an octopus getting into a ship's hull through a small little hole.
Yeah.
They can just get in anywhere.
Do you know what they're doing now?
No.
They're creating their own underwater cities.
Oh.
So octopus, the gloomy octopus specifically, is the name of this kind of octopus, which is typically antisocial. They are finding that they're banding together and creating civilizations. And not just that, like structures. They're making structures out of shells and living in them in neighborhoods.
In neighborhoods?
Yes, in groups. And they communicate with each other. There's rivalries. They kick each other out of their shells. There's two of them, and they're off the coast of Australia. There's Octopolis.
That's the name of the city?
Yes. And Octlantis.
Okay.
Are the two towns.
It's a little scary. I don't want them to get any smarter than where they're at now, because I don't know, part of me that's unnerving and part of me is oh, it's kind of precious that you guys are living in shells and stuff.
Yeah, just a little community.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know though. It is a little freaky for me.
I just thought you should know that. That's breaking news.
Dude.
Probably not breaking news. It's probably been around for a while, but that's breaking news to me.
Suction cups. No, that's not the sound they make. There's no way.
Anyways, the octopus. Just wanted you to know. That's all. That is the appetizer.
Yeah, I'll go need to Google some of that after this.
Okay, so our first video up, I'm just going to play it for you, and then we're going to discuss it.
Okay.
This is at Carly Talk. This is her video, and I want to give her credit before I play it.
I just saw a video where a girl was talking about the fact that only 8% of women have six-figure salaries. Enraging. What's more enraging than that, last year, in 2024, was the first year that the number of female CEOs exceeded the number of CEOs named John. 50% of people in the United States are female. 3% of people in the United States are named John. And just last year was the first time that there were more female CEOs than schmoes named John as CEOs. Frustrating, ridiculous, nonsense, horrible, A couple of adjectives to describe how I feel when I hear about these facts.
That is so weird. Okay. One of my first thoughts is, what is up with the name John?
Well, I did look it up, and she was right. She says 3% of the U.S. population. What I found was about 2% of the U.S. population was named John. Mm-hmm. So it's not like a ton of people named John.
So what's up with all the CEOs, a common name being John? Is it because it's just like a white guy name? So it's more likely if you're a guy named John to be CEO than if you're a woman, right?
Well, it was prior to 2023.
Right. Now, did she say in the video, like the percent of CEOs that are, of like, I don't know, Fortune 500 companies that are women versus just men?
So there's 8.2% of CEO roles are held by women in Fortune 500 companies.
And that's tiny.
That was in 2023. It did drop down to 7.8% in 2024. So it's even less.
That's really small.
So then in 2023, like she was saying, it was the first time ever that women CEOs outnumbered CEOs named John.
Yeah.
So there was 41 female CEOs to 23 CEOs named John.
So before then, was there a bunch more Johns or a bunch less women? 43 to 21, you said?
I'm guessing there was a bunch less women, but I can't say that for sure.
Well, if John stayed about the same, and women are almost now double John, the women had a big spike.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like. Which that's a good thing. That's a positive thing.
Yeah. Yes, that is a positive thing, I guess, but it did drop in 2024. And for every one woman that makes over $100,000, there are 2.2 men who make over $100,000 for every one woman.
Usually it's boards that appoint a CEO. So then it's like, oh, so really all these boards are appointing a much larger number of male CEOs than female CEOs, right?
Yeah.
So the question is like, okay, who's on all these boards?
Probably white men named John.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, boards appoint them, and a lot of boards are ex-CEOs too.
Okay, next one up. I want to give credit to this person. It's at Kevin, Kevon Stage, at Kevin Stage.
Women really be going through everyday life, sometimes bleeding profusely. Can you imagine just everyday tasks, but blood in addition to the life? Like I'm stuck in traffic, she's stuck in traffic, but bleeding profusely. And just acting like she ain't bleeding. Opening the checking account, yeah, let me put $1,000 in, but I'm also bleeding profusely. You're not gonna say nothing about it. You just gushing blood and living life. Inflation up everywhere. Inflation up for you, but also bleeding profusely.
But also,
as well. Can you imagine getting called in from work? You got to come to the school parent-teacher conference. Your kid acting up. You listen to the teacher say, "Oh, kid acting up." You also bleeding profusely, and you not irritated. I mean, I imagine you are irritated, but you more irritated. You just clicking around Zillow, bleeding. You in line for Starbucks. Let me get a Grande Americano. Grande Americano for the person bleeding profusely. This is crazy. Y'all just be living and bleeding. Bleeding and living. Living and bleeding profusely.
This is very interesting because my life feels hard. Like, I've got 4 kids. I run a business by myself, and I've been putting in so many hours lately. Trying to maintain relationships, trying to parent, run a household, have a healthy marriage, try to have friendships, all the kind of stuff I have to fix around our house all the time, right? Things can feel hard. We just got a cat. A lot of things feel hard. And I can't imagine having the exact same set of circumstances and like a week out of every month, I'm just bleeding.
Yeah, so a good example of that is I was just on my period. So imagine our last week, and I've been on my period.
Oh, yeah, that was a hard week.
We went camping, and I was bleeding. We went swimming, and I was bleeding. I did the laundry, bleeding. I washed the dishes, bleeding. I grocery shopped, bleeding. I had the kids all week while you worked, bleeding. Went to work myself, bleeding. Wrote this podcast, bleeding.
Yeah. Well, that's not even to mention, like, if you having any cramping and stuff.
Right.
You know, because then like that's really painful. It's like my stuff feels hard, but then to add that on top of it is just like, jeez. And then you have even more mental load because you have to like make sure you have a pad or a tampon. You have to, oh no, is it going to overflow into my underwear? I'm going swimming. I got to do special stuff.
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of extra stuff you have to think about.
Yeah. And just like endure and disassociate from while you're going throughout your daily life.
Oh yeah. Cause like, what do you just try to ignore it?
Basically.
You know,
I can't be paying attention to what's coming out down there.
No, I can't imagine just having alien sensation all the time. Well, not all the time, but you know what I mean. Like,
I could get you an octopus.
Dude,
You could see what it's like to have alien sensation all the time.
oh my God. What always gets me, like, this was obviously before I knew about like how you can track your cycle. But I'm thinking, like, when I was in like high school, I was thinking I would be so scared if I was a girl. It's like, I don't know when it's coming. Should be today. Don't know if it's going to be. Will it be my third period, fifth period after school? No idea.
Yeah. Well, imagine also like not having started your period and not knowing like when it will choose to appear. Not just like on a monthly basis. Like you haven't started yet.
Oh, like like your first one?
Yes.
Oh, dude, it's like every day is a little
You're living
Russian roulette.
Living on the edge, baby.
No idea. Just, whew, yeah. Dude, like I would be so anxious all the time.
Yeah. Well.
Like I would be like,
get
I got to
used
be
to it.
packing all the time.
Yeah. Well, you kind of do.
Oh.
You start to get used to it.
Like, like to me, the bleeding and the cramping and all of that, and like your different phases and the hormones, all just sounds really, really burdensome. But then add in any element of unpredictability, and it's like, oh, I'm just waiting for it to pop out at me and scare me.
Boo. Okay, so our next video is along the same lines, talking about period blood. This is from @Prospera Honduras.
My world revolves around menstrual blood, and that's because it's the most abundant source of stem cells that we have to date. And we've been able to demonstrate that we can 3D print, bio-3D print organs using these stem cells.
This is some of the coolest and most powerful information I ever heard, that the menstrual blood is like the power that can create organs and help other people.
Well, if you think about it, it's like the human starter pack that didn't get used.
Whoa! Whoa! There's stem cells in period blood?
Yes, period blood is one of the richest, least discussed sources of stem cells.
What?
So it contains endometrial stem cells. So every month the uterine lining sheds.
Yeah.
And with it comes this population of multipotent stem cells that can differentiate into muscle, fat, bone, cartilage, and even neural cells in lab studies.
I had no idea there were stem cells in period blood. We should be treating it like liquid gold.
Yeah, so why do you think we're not?
Well, before we get to that, I'm also astounded. Like they said that you can grow organs.
In that particular video, that's what it claimed. But there is cases, at least that I could find, where they can differentiate them into muscle, fat, bone, cartilage, and neural cells.
That's like very futuristic. Like if you could grow organs instead of needing an organ donor, you just need a period blood donor.
Yeah, it's easily accessible, unlike like bone marrow or cord blood. Mm-hmm. You can collect period blood in a non-invasive way. It's repeatable and it's like literally renewable.
Yeah.
Half of the population's, well, that's not all half of the population have periods. I shouldn't say that because that's not true. But half of the population in general, if we're talking about menstruators. And it's very ethically uncomplicated in comparison to some of these other things that they use to do stem cells. So there's no embryo destruction, no invasive harvesting procedures, nothing like that.
You know how you can earn money, like you get paid for donating plasma? Mm-hmm. There should be a really big price tag for those who donate period blood. Like, you should be able to make bank on that.
Yeah.
Because it's so useful. I didn't know there were stem cells. I have never in my life, in my 36 years, have I ever heard that before.
Well, it's because the biomedical fields have historically prioritized male bodies and ignored female-specific biology.
That can possibly grow organs or tissues. Or, I mean, like, there's stem cells. There's unlimited potential in stem cells.
There is more funding for erectile dysfunction research than for menstrual science.
Dude, but it could, like, this, like, not now, but, like, maybe in several decades, if you could grow organs and eliminate the need for organ donors, then your transplant lists of people will just shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink. That's insane. Kidneys, liver.
Unfortunately, menstruation is still treated as dirty or taboo, and that really sidelines serious research on it.
Sounds like it's life-giving. It sounds life-giving.
Yeah.
That is wild that women don't just create life in pregnancy, but you can create life through your period blood. Not create life, but like, you know, you can, there is life in there because you can theoretically grow viable tissues that can help people. Imagine if you can grow like corneas of eyes.
Yeah. Well, there's also just a huge awareness gap. Many doctors and researchers aren't even taught about this, even though their research is there. It just hasn't broken into the mainstream clinical practice yet.
What about skin grafts for burn victims?
Well, there's research currently going on to use it for neurodegenerative diseases.
Oh.
So early lab work suggests potential in repairing brain tissue, heart and muscle repair. Because of their high differentiation potential, they can grow into heart muscle, like muscle. You know, your heart's a muscle. Wound healing and cosmetic use. So menstrual stem cells show rapid skin regeneration, so it can be used in that. And then there's also exploring going on with fertility treatments, whether they can repair uterine lining in women with scarring or with thin endometriums.
Wow. I've always been fascinated by stem cells.
Yeah, well, every month. There are women who actually save their menstrual blood and they water their plants with it because it's so rich in stem cells, and they swear that it makes their plants come alive.
We are getting some peach trees.
Do I need to be harvesting mine?
What if we can get peaches faster than 5 years? I don't know.
You're so supportive.
How many years does it take a peach tree? Was it 5 years to make sure?
I don't remember.
Peaches? I mean, maybe we could like accelerate that.
Okay, so this video was posted by @ICPA for kids.
One thing that most people don't know is when men get a semen analysis, the World Health Organization has created the standard of acceptable levels at the 5th percentile. So that semen analysis, if he passes, cool, 95% of men have better sperm than you. Depends on where he is in passing, but it's more important to know the numbers, but to understand, you know, you're 50% and actually 60% of the epigenetic expression of your child. You know, she's carrying your child. The quality of her pregnancy is directly tied to his health. I've watched it time and time again. Preeclampsia is now tied to men. Morning sickness, dudes, he builds the placenta. So I think it's in the doc knowing more of like who builds what, right? Because it's a partnership all the way through. And if you want her to have a better pregnancy, and because they'll say you've had 3 losses, but you can get pregnant, but you can't stay pregnant, so it's not him. 3 out of 4 times losses in the first 12 weeks is him, not her. All chromosomal abnormalities are coming from him.
But we want to blame the women all the time for all the things.
What does she mean that the man builds the placenta? How does that work? What is that?
Yeah, so the placenta is genetically half dad's. Like your sperm contributes the paternal half of the placental genes.
I thought your body just grew it.
No, which controls how aggressively the placenta actually invades mom's uterine lining.
Oh.
So first pregnancies with a given father carry the highest preeclampsia risk. When you switch partners, the risk resets.
Can you remind me what preeclampsia is?
Preeclampsia essentially is placenta disease. It's a disorder where mom's blood pressure spikes and organs get stressed because the placenta doesn't embed or function properly.
Okay.
Something else I didn't realize is short exposure to paternal sperm, like using condoms for years and then conceiving quickly, or doing a donor sperm or IVF, increases preeclampsia rates, which suggests that mom's immune system needs to get used to dad's antigens.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Huh. That's fascinating.
And when dads are obese, have hypertension, or any kind of metabolic syndromes, they're linked to increased preeclampsia risk, likely through these sperm-borne epigenetic changes, which affects the placenta and the vascular development of it.
Interesting. Whoa. I had no idea there was male contribution to the, compatibility or health of the placenta. That's nuts. I feel, you know what? Makes me feel a little proud.
Whoa, because I didn't get preeclampsia.
Well, I had more contribution than I thought.
Yeah.
I helped build that placenta somehow. I gave some of the architectural blueprints for it.
Yeah, you were halfway involved.
Really, you're half the architect and the guy's half the architect, but the woman is the complete engineer, general contractor, builds the thing. I'm just half an architect.
That's funny. Morning sickness too, and it's specifically its severe form, hyperemesis gravidum, which I am familiar with, is partly about how the placenta produces hormones like HCG, and dad matters here too. So certain paternal genes in the placenta push for more resource extraction from mom, and they make the placenta pump out more HCG and other hormones. And the higher the HCG, the higher likelihood you have of having nausea and vomiting. So some studies suggest that paternal genetics influence the severity of morning sickness. And women carrying pregnancies fathered by men whose mothers also had hyperemesis are at higher risks.
Oh, that's interesting. Man, wow, that's crazy.
It's just interesting because medicine historically treats pregnancy as entirely a mom's responsibility. But the evidence says that dad's biology is a hidden variable in pregnancy outcomes.
Yeah, because usually, I have just thought of whether you get pregnant or not is totally can be related to the guy. Could have nothing to do with you. But I never thought that pregnancy loss could be influenced by the genes of the guy.
Chromosomal abnormalities.
Huh.
I just think it's really interesting how dad's health before conception sets the blueprint for how the placenta builds itself and how much strain that it puts on mom.
Yeah. Well, in that video, she brought up epigenetics too, because everything the guy has experienced and gone through.
Yeah.
Then prior to conception.
Yeah. Okay. Last video here.
Okay.
This one blew my mind. I did not know this. And this is from @CWR_JD.
In 5 seconds, I'm going to share a fact with you that shattered my entire reality. If it shatters your reality, please share with a friend, like, comment, and favorite. It's cheaper to house homeless people than to let them be homeless. It's also cheaper to feed hungry people than to let them be hungry, and to give universal health care and universal education to everyone. Those things are cheaper to give than they are to withhold.
Did you know that? So food insecurity, let's start there. Food insecurity raises healthcare costs by $1,863 per person per year. For every dollar spent on SNAP, the economic return is $1.50 to $1.80. In children, the ROI is $62 per $1 spent for SNAP.
And that ROI is found where?
That ROI is found in healthcare cost reduction, in education loss reduction, in all those things that because you're fed, you're able to pay attention in class and you're able to go to school. And because you're fed, you're not malnourished and not in the emergency room. Because you're fed, your brain's developing properly and you're going to have less risks of mental health conditions.
Okay.
So you end up with this huge return. So if you average it from adults and children and all that stuff, for every $1 cut from SNAP, it cuts $14 to $20 of return to the economy.
So what is it? Is it also that paying for these things is an upfront cost and an explicit cost? Where this money's going, this is what it's earmarked for, blah, blah, blah. And then but if you don't pay for it, your cost is on the back end with these related things like mental health, healthcare, things with education, right? Mm-hmm. And it's less explicit because it's like these things that are linked to it. And so do you think I wonder if it's easy to say up front, we don't have the money to pay for this. And then on the back end saying, well, this is what we got to do.
I think it's capitalism.
A form of capitalism.
Oh, okay. Why do you have to put the qualifier on there?
Because capitalism as a whole, there's a lot of different kinds of it. And not all of them are like this.
Okay. I don't know how I feel about that. But okay, we'll let that slide because I don't have stuff to talk about concerning that today.
Okay. Because we actually don't even have true free market Adam Smith capitalism.
Yes, no, I know that. But I also think that capitalism who believes that your labor is your capital and that basic human rights like housing and food are not inherent rights. They're things that you should have to work for. And that's extorting people to survive.
Yeah, but I think like capitalism is an economic theory, but then when you get into like things not being human rights, it's more of a philosophical theory. And a lot of countries are capitalistic, but have very strong social programs like Nordic countries and stuff. Like you have private ownership of things, and that's capitalistic, but you still have social things, and you believe that education should be free and healthcare should be universal and stuff like that.
Do you believe that?
Believe what?
That like people should have access to housing, education, healthcare.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where like everybody rises with what's that phrase where like all ships rise? With the tide,
I know
or
what
with
you're
the
talking
waters.
about, but I forget what the phrase is.
I think I think absolutely. I think we have in America this deep-seated, but false idea of pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and it's all on you and nobody owes you anything. Versus your government should provide basic necessities. You don't have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps to make sure you can feed your kids or you can get health care.
Like that's what I want my taxes to go towards.
Yeah, not wars in other countries and not subsidizing oil and gas companies.
As far as like the cost of homelessness and stuff, they've done so many programs and each program has shown basically the same thing. That permanent supportive housing costs between like $10,000 to $25,000 per person per year, depending on the region. Mm-hmm. The cost of doing nothing in contrast in allowing chronic homelessness often costs around $30,000 to $50,000 per person per year when you add up all the ER visits, jail stays, and other services.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, it even makes economic sense to just take care of people. It just makes economic sense and moral sense.
Yeah, and why it's still a debate is because you have the government that's upfront saying that governments have to spend money now to see savings later, which is politically unpopular.
Well, yeah, and it's also like, I think of kids. Do you want a cookie now or 2 cookies in an hour? Mm-hmm. How many of them are going to pick one cookie now?
The other thing is too that a lot of these places have fragmented budgets and they're not like part of one cohesive organization. You have the police that have their own budget and the hospitals and the shelters and the housing departments. They don't share a budget. So each system spends more to keep people homeless, but no one agency wants to eat the cost of like housing them. Mm-hmm. Like,
oh, yeah.
So if you had more co-opted budgets.
Yeah, where every one of those departments can chip in maybe what they would be paying on the back end.
Yeah.
And that it's not just all in one department. Is that what you mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of ways we could do things better. I think I've heard that I think it was about SNAP benefits, but it might have been something else where every dollar goes in, you have all these other dollars that come out. It just makes sense.
Why aren't we talking about that more? Like I even see like, I'm just talking about the people who are for it, like politically speaking. I don't hear that being talked about as like a big point here.
Right.
Like actually, no, we are totally into the economy. So much into the economy. We want to save SNAP because $1 spent in SNAP puts $1.50 to $1.80 into economic activity.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why that isn't a popular Democratic talking point. Because, I mean,
Same thing with the homelessness thing.
yeah. I mean, you could even say the same thing about healthcare. If everybody had insurance, hospitals wouldn't have to have their prices as high, right? Because they wouldn't get stiffed.
Yeah.
How does that work again?
Yeah. You wouldn't have as many, the uninsured costs.
Yeah. Well, plus, if you're uninsured, you probably don't go get something you should get until it becomes an emergency, and then it's an emergency room visit, and it's more expensive.
Yep. Another reason why they say that it, politically doesn't work is because of budget silos. Like the USDA pays for food programs, but Medicaid and hospitals pay for malnutrition fallout. So the savings aren't seen in the same budget line.
Got it. Yeah, so I feel like you really need a cabinet position that is like, how they have Surgeon General and then they have Attorney General. Mm-hmm. You need like an Accountant General.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you can analyze across departments.
Yeah. Well, that's all I have for us today, Jay. Thanks for watching TikToks with me.
Yeah, good TikToks. I hope for those of you listening, something was intriguing or sparked a curiosity, or you felt affirmed or challenged. Stay educated. Take the pink pill. If you enjoyed this podcast, please give us a follow and maybe a nice review.